Bulavinaka, welcome to another exciting episode of my podcast, Let Me Pod You with Andhy Blake. Now, my guest today needs no introduction if you live in Fiji or the South Pacific and have followed his music. He's a well-known entertainer, he's a well-known artist, business entrepreneur, and a public figure here in Fiji. My guest today is Kuki or Apakuki Nalawa, and he's a solo artist that has his own brand Kuki and is the lead singer for one of the top bands in the country, Inside Out. As they say in your province of Ra, they greet you, it's Yandra all day long.
All day, every day.
And in my province of Thailand, it's Mbula Maleka. Welcome to Let Me Pod You with Andhy Blake. It's a pleasure to have here, not only as a friend, but as a family, a close family member, and as one of Fiji's most, in fact, celebrated musicians.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, Kuki, can you take us back to your childhood? What was life like growing up, and how did your roots in Ra, also known as the Sun Coast, shape the person that you are today?
Childhood. First of all, I was born in Lotoka,
Right.
Lotoka Hospital. So I'm truly a Western kid.
Yes.
Then we moved over to Suva because of my parents' work. I guess the person that I am today is I owe it a lot to my parents.
Right.
Especially to my dad, who was very rooted in culture, and he was very strong in his teachings about, like, even our mother tongue, our dialect.
Yeah.
Back at home, because my dad is full Fijian, and his mom and his dad are both from Ra.
Right.
So he's a pure Kaira.
Right. And there's an interesting story as well when you talk about Ra. Can you just tell our viewers, like, where in particular in Ra you're from and the connection that it has to the rest of the world?
So, Dronivi village, which is in Watukaloko. And we are sort of like on the border between Ba and Ra.
Right.
And for those that haven't been to Ra, we are located right next to the Fiji Water Factory, or
Right.
Yangara.
The world famous Fiji water.
World famous Fiji Water, and we are actually the rightful landowners of the Yangara land.
Yes.
That's a long
Yeah, that's
history and a
another
long story
episode.
behind that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
another episode. And, but I'm glad that you brought it up, because it's about time that we actually share our history that has been
and get it properly acknowledged, because like everyone, including myself, just know of the bottle when we see it, Fiji water, but we don't really know the history and the story, because there's a deep meaning behind that that famous blue bottle that you see around the world.
Just to touch base on that, one of our prophets, or one of our high priests back in one of our ancestors, he was known to perform miracles, and he was pretty much Kawanimbete.
Yes.
So our high priest at the time, he actually made a lot of prophecies, and a lot of our elders had passed down prophecies. And one of the prophecies was about Fiji water. And he told the elders, one day in the future, the world will drink from the water from Yangara.
Wow.
And, back then the elders were like confused, like, how is this even possible?
Right.
In 1996 is when Fiji water was established.
Yes.
And today it's one of the top, or probably the number one.
It's the number one water in the world. Like, you see it at the Academy Awards, you see it at the Grammy Awards, you see it at most of the international competition. I've seen photos with the Fiji water bottle on US presidents' tables.
Yeah.
Most of the celebrities that are well known worldwide.
That's actually the foundation and the roots of where I came up and introduced from Fiji to the world.
Right.
It's not plucked out of thin air.
Right.
It's from histories and oral history that's been passed down by generations. And
Yes.
again, that's a whole another topic in itself.
Right. So just going back to my earlier question, like about your childhood. So it was the influence of your generations from Watukoloko and your father and your grandfather, plus the entire family from
Yes.
that province, rather
Yes.
Bra province, that really shaped you and guided you in a more to the fact that you were embracing your culture and
Yep.
being proud of
Being
Fiji.
proud of Fiji, yes. And that's why back at home we only spoke in the Ra dialect or the Watukoloko dialect to my
Wow.
dad.
So Ra has its own dialect and
Yes.
Watukoloko has its own dialect.
Yes, so that
Wow, that's
they're actually
interesting.
different. Yeah, so Watukoloko dialect is actually different from the
Right.
There's a bit of a combination between Ba. There's some words that could relate to the Nandi dialect, even some words in Nandronga.
Right.
And the Ra dialect. So in the Ra dialect, they don't pronounce the T.
Okay.
Yeah, and some the K, just sort of similar to Mbua.
Yes.
But for us, we pronounce. So there's some similarities, but a lot of more differences.
Wow.
To dialects. Yeah.
Wow.
So back at home, we only spoke two languages. It was Fijian, and Fijian I only learned how to speak in Bowen when I went to school.
Right.
I only knew how to speak.
And Bowen is sort of like the most common language,
yes.
Fijian
Yes.
language in
Fijian
the
language.
country.
Yeah. So my Bowen was very poor.
Right.
Because we only spoke in the Ra dialect at home, and it was either the Ra dialect or English because my mom is part European.
Right.
It's funny because if you see my mom, you'll never realize that she's my mom because
Yeah.
she's very fair.
And that's how we are
And that's
connected.
how we're connected. That's how we're closely
yes,
related.
Yes. Now, who was the biggest or who were the biggest influences in your life as a child? Was there a particular moment or person that first inspired your love for music?
That's interesting because to be honest, in our family, there's no. I don't come from a line of musicians like how most other musicians, their dads are either musician or their grandfather. But my dad always said that back in Watukoloko, we've always been known for two things. Very good sportsmen with rugby or like sports, running, athletics, or everywhere you go, like if there's a gathering and you hear a group of people who are making their way to that gathering,
Yes.
who are who are singing, they just know, oh, that's from Watukoloko. So it's either they're good at singing or good at music. I think I picked up a bit of both because I love to be active.
Right.
But as to take it up as an actual career, I'm probably the first or the pioneer in my family.
Right.
And
And this is from both paternal and maternal.
paternal
side.
and maternal, yes.
Yes.
So I guess I just picked it up along the way, the passion for music, and I think I figured out my purpose. And I think I believe that God literally gave me a voice.
Right.
To
Not just a voice, a very powerful voice that has sort of become so popular now that you are gaining international recognition.
yes, and
Yeah.
which I'm truly grateful for. In terms of inspiration, my turning point would be when I had my first son, my first child, and. For me, nothing to really fall back on because I didn't have the privilege of completing high school. So music was the only thing that I had. And I think that was preordained in a way that it was God's way of showing me that this is your purpose in life. And like I always talk about processes in life. And I've been through a process where I didn't learn through the traditional educational system. I believe that I learned through the school of life.
Right. You didn't go to like a music school as
Yeah.
some normal artists would.
Yes.
And so you just picked it up and just
Yes.
learned it yourself.
Picked it up and learned it, and I just found the passion for it, and
Yeah.
just never stopped from when the first time I picked up a drumstick. So I learned on the drums actually.
Wow.
I started my music learning on the drums, then jumped onto the guitar.
Yeah.
And then years later, then I realized that I actually had a voice and I could
Yeah.
sing.
Yeah, interesting. And what you just said earlier is really a true testament about passion. So like when you have passion for anything in life, like
Yes.
it really, you tend to see all the fruits of the hard work that you put in.
Yes.
And so with you, like the passion for your music, like you've not only just built a career for yourself and having a brand for Kuki,
Yeah.
you've also created so many other brands, which I'll get to later on
Yes.
in this podcast. And so, like, breaking into the music scene, like, what was your first? How did you get into the first? What was your first gig in the Fijian music scene? Like, how did you break that scene?
I started off as a solo artist. I built up the Kuki brand. I released my first single, which was "We Need Love," and that was recorded with 128 with Ratitso Tambakador, and with the 128 members. A bit after that, then I decided, you know what, I really feel like I need to be part of a band, or to create a band, and that's when I came up with the idea to form Inside Out. We started off as a 3-piece. I guess we started practicing, and then we got our first break when we had an opening for a Solomon Island artist, Zabwe, who was playing at Traps Bar. That was our first gig. And at our very first gig, just I think 2 or 3 weeks out of practice, the late Mr. Gary Apted just saw us on our first gig, and he said, you know what, you guys have potential. I want to give you a regular spot.
Wow.
Yeah, so he said he'll speak to Nem and Tale
Yes.
to have us open up.
Nem
for
and
them.
Tale being other artists in the industry at the
Yes,
time.
at the time, Nem and Tale were pretty much the only ones that were like fully pushing for live
Right.
music, and they were like high in demand, and there were two musicians that we highly looked up to.
Yeah.
They were our mentors at the time. So for them to actually open up the stage for us to open up for them on Thursdays was, you know, that we were truly grateful for
Right.
that. Because they had grown a massive following on the Thursday nights in Traps.
Yes.
And they had a lot of corporates, you know, a lot of, they would say in the club, high spenders.
Yes.
They would come out on Thursdays.
We're looking at you, Mr. John Apted.
So so Gary Apted, we owe a lot to him, because that was our very first gig, and we didn't expect anything at all. Like, we just wanted to at least, you know, get out on stage. I had been performing, you know, I performed a bit with 128, and I did some gigs in Suva, but still very, very green.
Right.
And to get that recognition on our first gig, we owe it a lot to Gary. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, great. So growing up, did you ever dream that you'd one day be where you are now, or did your path to music evolve like unexpectedly? We already just discussed that, but like, did you ever dream that one day you would be in a position in the music industry where you are at now?
To be honest, because I never saw myself to be a musician. I definitely had a different path, different plan. Even to be a business person, businessman, I guess it evolved over time. I was more heading into. Back then I saw myself sort of being an engineer,
Right.
or I had aspirations to become a pilot or an engineer.
Yeah.
But I guess God has different plans.
Yeah.
And music really just evolved from learning how to play to actually becoming a full-time, like a professional musician. It's amazing to see the progress of the journey, but I didn't see myself being a full-time musician.
Wow. You're a very inspirational person, just so you know. And I know you, it's because we've had conversations off camera in the past where you, because of your humility, you're so humble about it. But then, like, I always remind you sometimes, like, you know, with the work and everything that you have achieved, like, you are a living testament to what success is.
Thank you.
For a country like Fiji and for, you know, up and coming entrepreneurs. So I'm excited for the future.
Naka.
Now, my next question to you, Kuki. Every journey has its challenges. Can you share one of the toughest moments you faced in your career or life and how you overcame it?
I would say too many to mention. this journey has been tough. For one, if I take it from if I put on my musician hat, definitely like support. We started up in an industry that was, looked down upon, never really was seen as a career.
Right.
And boy, proper guidance. There's no proper institution that teaches us what to expect out in the real world, or even to groom us to be performers. If we've been in the industry for 12 plus years,
Yes.
being a full-time musician. What we know now, we could with a platform that we've set up with Residence Entertainment, we pretty much have compressed all that experience and all that into like how many months, and we are grooming other new artists in that short span of time, and we're just giving them the platform, the mentorship, the privileges. When we started off, our main goal and my vision was to set up a platform where artists wouldn't go through the hardships that we faced,
right?
And that's the realities of life, which is our livelihood and our welfare as artists. Because it really broke my heart when I went for the first time to go and try and get a loan or go get a hire purchase.
Yeah.
And you can't even apply as a musician.
Wow.
And fast forward, we've set up a platform where our artists are now, they have the privileges to go and do hire purchases.
Right.
Some of them are
because they have a full-time salary.
Because they have full-time salary, they are on contract.
Yes.
Even for the first time ever, we've offered one of our female artists maternity leave.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's a first ever I believe in the country.
Yeah.
And that was our main goal, was artist welfare and stability. Because those were the challenges that we faced. That's why, to answer your question, there's so many challenges that we faced. But being the kaira that I am, I always believe
through.
when one door closes, there's so many other doors to open.
Yes.
And we've come this far, and we've set up the platform for artists. So the amount of challenges we could go on until how many days to say.
We'll have to have more and more episodes of this podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's like really, really good that you shared that part, because like I think with most of our younger generations that are coming up now, like they just look at artists like yourself and think like it just all was handed to you on a platter, but they don't realize like the amount of sacrifices and work and struggles, tears, sleepless nights, stress,
heaps.
So it's good that you share that, because then it's the reality of what success is, eh? Like it's hard work and making all these sacrifices.
Yeah, and for, like I said, that's from an artist's point of view, eh? And then from the business side, that's a whole different story. For me, for us, even like with Inside Out, and especially for myself, trying to compartmentalize my brain in. I can be having a stressful day to do with business, and then in the afternoon I have a gig to attend.
Yes.
And I could have some issues that I'm facing in the office, and then I know by this time I need to cut this off and just put on a smile and put on my artist hat, and perform. And sometimes it's for events where there's 300 packs, 400 packs, 500, and you have to move the room and try and read the crowd. And so these are things that people don't really realize. As an artist, these are sort of qualities that you have to, you have to groom yourself to be equipped with.
Right.
Because trust me, it's not easy, let alone being in front of a crowd. And then you are expected by clients to move the crowd to, your performance needs to, because to be honest, in any event, picture an event without music.
It's just a quiet room, or a room that's full of noisy people.
Noisy people, yeah. So that those are the responsibilities that are put on artists, and I believe now is a time for people to recognize the value of artists,
Right.
because it's not easy. It's
Yeah.
not easy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. What sacrifices have you had to make to pursue your dreams, and how have they shaped your journey?
I remember when we started off in Traps, we played there for about 2.5 years. I was the only full-time musician at the time, and we had pulled on Mess, Bill, and Tim. So they all had day jobs. Mess was working for Clay Energy.
Okay.
He's a qualified electrician. And Tim is a qualified mechanical engineer. He
Right.
was at the Ports Authority. Bill who also is a qualified electrician. He just left EFL and he was in music school. So I had to sacrifice being a roadie at start.
Yes.
So I used to go in, set up, and then wait for them to come on their lunch break. Then we sound check,
Right.
do everything, set up, okay, set, and we leave, and then we come back in the
Wow.
evening. Then we have our gigs. And then as time went on, I actually took on a solo gig at Governor's Restaurant.
Right. Which is now Kanu's?
Which is now Kanu, yeah.
Kanu's restaurant in the capital city, Suva, if you visit Suva.
Sorry, yeah. So what I did is I took on a solo gig. So I used to play 3 hours in Kanu solo, and that would be my income. And then the Traps gig, just so that I could keep the boys together, the Traps gig. So I did 3 hours in Governors, and I did 2.5 hours in Traps
Right.
straight after. So 5 hours I would be gigging on Thursday. And I remember every time I was handed the money,
Yes.
I would just take it and give it to the boys and say, "This is your pay. I've worked for my pay."
Right.
So we did that for about 2.5 years, and I
Right.
never paid myself for all those.
Yes,
Traps.
I remember that story. I remember your wife Fina telling me that story, and I was like, wow, that
Yeah,
is
so those are some
amazing.
of the sacrifices.
So if you look at it in a spiritual sense, it was like you were tithing
Yeah. Yes.
by paying these boys, and
Definitely.
look at where you are now.
Yes, and that's, to me, I appreciated the value that they brought to the team, because they themselves were making big sacrifices. They used to come in the lunch breaks, straight after work. Tim used to come to Traps Bar with his overalls and his walkie-talkie in his pocket.
He told me a few stories.
So sometimes during the gig, you can hear the walkie-talkie. Yo, gearman, come through. They're calling from the wharf. So he'd go, "Yo, hang on. He's at the gig." So straight after the gig, he would go back to work and work until the morning.
Wow.
Do his shift. So we used to do that. And then we got on gigs. Like we used to gig 5 days straight in a week. And we built up our inventory from just gig to gig. We've never taken a loan, or
Yes.
like no investor or millionaire has come in and say, "Here, start up." It's whatever we've built was over the years of just gigging week in,
Wow.
week out.
So impressive. That's like really impressive to hear. And to hear how each one of you in the Inside Out band like even made those sacrifices
Yes.
during their full-time day jobs,
And Bill used to travel after a while. He moved back to Lotoka. So he was traveling every week, coming
Wow.
up and down, and still does till
Yes.
today.
Him and Mess still
So those are
still
some
do.
of the
Yeah.
sacrifices that we've made over the years.
Yeah. Did you ever face doubt, whether from yourself or others, about your ability to succeed in music? And how did you deal with it?
I, for one, personally, I don't believe in no. I always believe that there is a way, there's a possibility. So I never take on any. I shut out doubt, because I know at the stage where I am, people are relying on me,
Yes.
and to be a leader, you really can't have room for doubt.
Right.
So I always believe, and remind myself that in every situation there's always a solution, and that's one thing that I say to the staff. And it's you believe something, you speak it into existence, and you do it. And that's what has brought us this far. So I don't give space for doubt in my mind or in my heart. If I make a decision, whether it's right or wrong, if it's wrong, you own it, you make up for it, and you don't repeat it. If it's right, then you're doing something right. So I try my best to not have doubt in my heart or in my mind. In saying that, like I said, we make mistakes, we're humans.
Yeah, absolutely.
But from those mistakes is growth. There's opportunities for growth.
Yeah. Wow, so much wisdom, so much wisdom, and so much information for our viewers to just like reflect on and digest from just this first segment. So, speaking of segments, we're just going to take a short break, which will allow you to go and top up your coffees, your teas, or you might need to use the toilet or whatever that you need to do. You join us straight after this short break, and we'll see you in the next segment. Kuki, your music carries a unique sound. How did you develop your style and what inspires your songwriting?
In terms of style, for my solo career, I sort of am still experimenting. You see the stuff that I've been putting out. There's a bit of reggae. There's a bit of pop, folk, vunde, even Afro. For that, for me, the plan with the Kuki sound is just how I feel at the moment, and at a certain point in time, I just write towards it. And for Inside Out, we've decided that we're going to go more into primarily reggae, island reggae,
and
Pacific reggae. In terms of songwriting, I don't force or sit down and say like, okay, I'm going to write about this certain thing. If it's been asked for by a client, then that's different. It's a paid job. But to be in that zone, it has to come naturally.
Yeah,
it has to really come naturally, and I get influenced by people around me. Certain situations, events. And it's built up over time. Like I've shared the story about how I wrote Nunguvonua.
Yes, which is soon to be the new national anthem.
See, that came to me in a dream. So stuff like that, I have to be really.
And this dream happened in the US?
In China.
In China, right.
In China.
In Chengdu.
And I think the reason why the lyrics just flowed is because I was outside of the country, looking in. I think there's a totally different perspective when you're outside of the country and you're writing a song about Fiji.
Yeah.
You have a different perspective because the elements and the things around you are different, and you think about what is lacking in the country and what we can improve on and things that we can touch base on and we can adapt. So that's why I think that song is really different. The words that came to me at that point in time were I just felt anointing.
Right.
So in terms of music, I get inspired by so many things. That's why I love to hear people's stories. I'm very inquisitive. I ask questions.
Yeah.
Those things, they fuel my passion and my creativity.
And you also wrote the hit song, which you will never talk about, Marama Ndina, which was the anthem of 2024 and became the number one hit on the CFL stations.
Yeah, like I said, no one needs to know that a guy wrote that song. You should hear the draft. It's so funny hearing a guy sing.
Yeah. Right. No, but then I mean, you give where credits due, and like you were the author of that. That you composed that whole song, because you're not just the songwriter, you also are a producer.
Yes. So I actually wrote, produced, composed that track. That was inspired, by just women empowerment. I've been brought up surrounded by women. I've got 3 older sisters.
Yes.
And I'm the only boy and the youngest.
Yeah.
So I believe that we need to respect and value our women.
Yeah.
They play a major vital role in society.
Right.
So, and we formed the first ever all-female band, which is history.
Marama, yes.
And that was amazing. So I just want love to let the ladies shine and give
Yeah.
them their moment.
Yeah.
And just highlight the artists and give them a platform, like we said, for them to showcase their talent. So that was a blessing too, and grateful for all the viewers and the listeners for picking that, making that song number one in the country for 2024.
Yeah, you spoke about like the different genres of music, and just for our international viewers that don't understand what Vunde is, can you just elaborate or just explain what Vunde is?
Vunde is Fijian folk. It's like folk. It's a mixture of country, and usually it has a lot of melodies in like from the verses to the chorus, and they're like layered melodies with like a trio, and you can hear a bit of a bass sound in it. Yeah, it's I believe it's dated, or it's inspired by the Fijian chants.
Yeah,
The Fijian chants that we have. And it's very, very unique because the phrasing and the diction of the Fijian language and how it falls in line with melodies, I think that's one of the main reasons why the region, the Pacific, they're falling in love with Fijian music.
right.
It's because of the diction and how we write music, how we compose our lyrics to fit into the melodies.
Yes.
And the melodies that we choose, it's very sweet. So Vunde is like Fijian folk. It's like a mixture of a fusion between country and folk, and a bit of, I would say, I'm not too sure if it's a bit of pop. Yeah, but it's not bluesy, it's not jazzy.
Yeah.
It's mostly a pop, country.
Yeah.
But usually dance.
Right, like whenever you hear it,
whenever you hear
you want to stand up and start dancing.
Because Fijians love to party.
Yes.
And we're happy people. So we love.
We are the happiest people on earth.
Yes. So that's why we love our Vunde music.
Yeah, definitely. And you know how you spoke about the song that has become a hit now, Nongu Vanoa, which was inspired when you were in Chengdu in China. When you were talking about that, it just reminded me as well of a song that was written by one of our former presidents of Fiji, and one of our great leaders who I have ever known to shape our country, the late Ratisa Kamisesemara. When he went off to London, he wrote, I can't remember the name. Virikoto. So I guess it's just something that when you are outside of the country and you're looking in, like it just gives you that passion and that pride, and it just inspires you to...
Yeah, it's sort of like lament. It's like a prayer about your nation,
right?
And that usually comes from a deep place,
right?
Because for me, with a history that has been passed down to me from my father, from my grandfather, it's you can, in a way, it might be quite controversial because. It's sort of like linked biblically,
right?
But if you listen to it, that's our history, and that's what's been passed down to us. So, like I said, when I wrote the song Nongu Vanoa, I felt a different passion, different anointing, because I linked it to what I was being told from what the history has been passed down, and that's to do with our links to Nakawandra, to Ulunda.
Yeah,
and the origins of Fiji and Fijians here in the country, because this is something that's been like the high priest that I was talking about, Naposa Pakandua. Before he departed, he told our elders, "Na itukutuku kewiti do punitagini na suni kalabamo." So that translates to the history about our country, or the history about our nation, Fiji. Hide it in your femur bone, which is your thigh bone.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was really interesting, because why did they choose the femur bone? And if you do your research, femur bone is the strongest bone in the human body.
Wow.
Meaning, there's a deep meaning to it. Hide it in the strongest bone in your body, meaning keep it like safe.
Right.
Keep it sacred.
It's sacred.
They will, yeah. And then he goes on to say, "Donangono mai muri na vuru na gevevia mai ni tukutuku." So, in the near future, the world will come running for this history. Yeah. So if you go back to the song Yanramai, I included those lines. na tuku levu suini kalawamu e o tamani nandomo mu viti me wakarau. So that history in your family or bone, stand by, because Fiji and the world are going to come running for it. Again, that's where I base from Fiji to the world.
I'm getting goosebumps. So your song has a lot of deep meanings. I think for your fans and for like those that listen to your music, they like really need to sort of like listen to the lyrics because it has a lot of meaning.
There's nuggets of history, and towards the end, I say semberna kenangauna, semberna yudabuta. Meaning, in the future, people will look back and say, "Oh my God, this is what he's been talking about all this time," because it's ahead of its time. So I didn't expect it to go as viral because people don't really understand the history behind it. But like what's been prophesied, ndonangauna maimuri, just like Fiji water. One time in the future, the world will understand the value and they will.
And it's happening as we
slowly
speak.
But surely.
Yeah, fantastic. Proud. Well, you're a proud son of Ra and a great ambassador for the province.
Vinaka.
Can you tell us about a breakthrough moment in your career when you realized this is it? I've made it.
That's a good question, because for how I see it is there'll never be like a breakout moment or just for me to say, I made it. I made it in life or I made it in music. I never limit myself. Like if I level up this year, next year I'll go up to another level, and I'm always looking for the growth. Yeah, because we never stop growing until we die. That's what I believe, and we never stop learning. But I guess there's phases where there were times in my career where I believe like, oh, this is a level up. This is like an sort of like how do I say it? Yeah, like leveling up in my musical career, in business.
So you just keep evolving.
Yes.
Evolving with your music.
One of those moments probably be like straight out of COVID. I was approached to do a solo gig with Rebel Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah. On the
when the borders to promote that Fiji was open.
Fiji was opened. Yeah. I sang one of my original songs, Oilele, and she loved it, and she posted it on all her socials.
Yeah, it was
got
viral.
Millions of views.
A viral moment.
And if
you don't know who Rebel Wilson is, Google her.
Yeah. So I think within a span of how many days, my following on socials grew by the thousands.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's a success story too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is before COVID, and I've never shared this with anyone, I actually got chosen to be on The Voice Australia.
No.
Yeah, so I was meant to go for the blind auditions.
Yes.
But unfortunately, and this is the first time I'm ever sharing it in public.
Wow, I feel so privileged and excited, guys. This is an exclusive. Thank you.
But unfortunately, COVID, borders closed.
Right.
So that didn't eventuate. But, it's all in God's time. So.
Yeah.
This, like I said, there's so many things in business. Being able to partner with 5-star resorts for them to acknowledge and value our team's work. We've had really good relationships with the Shangri-La over the years. I think we're signing on for the 8th year this year.
Wow, that's a really long and good relationship. If you're going into
they've been really good to us. Intercontinental Resort and the Crown Plaza, and also as well as GPH.
Yeah.
Those are things like that's a breakthrough for us, because coming through the music industry, I've always seen these as milestones, and for us to achieve that, these are like definitely milestones. And there's so many other achievements with Inside Out. We're going to Holo this year, Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas.
And what other better place to perform in than the entertainment center?
Yeah. And then as we film this, we're just about 3 weeks out, I think, from going to Austin in Texas.
Austin in Texas for South by Southwest.
Yes, which is another big music festival.
Yeah. And all the other stuff which we will not announce now.
Yet. Oh, wow. That's exciting. So, guys, from the outside, people see the glitz and glamour of your success. What's something about being Kuki that people don't see or understand?
The Kuki that you see now is a totally different person. I'm an introvert, to be honest. I love to be on my own and stick to myself. But like I said, the process that God put me through in life has just made me automatically involved into the person that I am now. I remember when I started off, man, I really found it hard to engage with the crowd, like to speak.
Right.
Whew, that was really, really tough, and
Yeah.
that took me years to get over. Even when we started in traps, I used to be told off by because I didn't have a crowd engagement.
Right.
So I had to force myself to speak.
You were trying to step outside of your comfort zone.
Yes. So
Because public speaking it doesn't just happen to you. You have
Yes.
to
Yeah, exactly.
be comfortable, or you have to go through some kind of formal training and get used to being in front of large crowds.
Yeah, get used to being in front of large crowds and having the confidence, and it happens over time.
Yeah.
And being an introvert doesn't really help. So for me, I'm a big introvert. I love to be on my own, and just I think that's one thing that people don't really really.
So when you see Kuki on the streets alone, just leave him alone. Is that what you're
please.
saying?
Like I'll be walking around town like, oh my god.
Yeah, and I've walked around town with Kuki in some instances, and he'll just get tired of stopping and taking selfies with all his friends, and right up to the
not
time.
really get tired. But
I mean, not tired. Like I will be like tired, because I'll be like, can we just like get from where we are supposed to go to, and like if we're going to have lunch, you'll stop people taking photos, and I'm like, okay, with cookies, so
they say it comes with comes with a package. And
Yes.
it comes with, but to be honest, because for me, it's never about the fame. That's something that I don't.
And it's good that you mentioned that, because fame is sort of like materialistic. Like I think when fame is like what a lot of people strive for, like you will have a short shelf life.
Yeah. It all comes down to our intentions, our motives, and why we do your why.
Yeah.
Why you do what you're doing. For me, my purpose is, and I believe truly is for me. God gave me a voice, literally, to tell a story, and that I'm starting to do with my lifestyle, with the brand Yandra, and with my music.
Yeah.
So, for being like a public figure, it wasn't really my intentions, but I'm
but
using
it comes
that
with
platform.
the territory.
Yes, and I thank God for that platform, which has enabled me to actually tell the story.
Yeah, and do other things.
Yes.
Which brings me to my next question. So you're not just a musician, you're an entrepreneur with businesses like Yandra, which is the retail outlet, your band Inside Out, Resonance Media, which I'm a part of, and Resonance Entertainment, which includes over or close to 40 artists that you employ.
Well, 40 staff, but 23 artists.
Right. So how do you balance being a creative artist with being a businessman? How do you balance that?
You know what, because from the start, I think, like I said, my process, and I think, and I only realized it now, for being musicians, we are multi-talented and multi-skilled, and that requires yourself to compartmentalize your brain.
Yes.
And I recall, and I'm like, no wonder I started off on the drums, because that enabled me to firstly become a solo artist, and I can literally play for 300 people and move the room, not to boast, but make everyone dance as a solo artist. And I think, wow, this is powerful. But then I think back to my process. Musicians, you need to adapt in the ability to multitask and compartmentalize your brain. So I adapted that in business. So it's focusing on the task at hand, and it's pretty much envisioning seeing yourself as wearing different hats.
Right.
So, but it's come to a point now where it's like very, how do I say it, like I have to switch hats within a matter of seconds.
Right. So many hats that you have to wear in a day.
I could be sitting in the office and then be like something for Inside Out. Okay, set. Inside Out, set. Okay. And then the next second is like Residence Entertainment. Okay, we do this, sign this.
And then I'll come to you and then it'll be like family hat.
Be like, guys, we catch up and okay, set with that.
Yeah.
So I guess being a musician really plays a big part in that. And the fact that I love what I do.
Yes.
Because I see the impact on artists, on the staff that we have, and the platform that we have put together. And I possibly couldn't have done this on my own.
Yeah.
It's just the team that are around me are super amazing and just super talented. So that has contributed a lot to how far we've come.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, guys. And it's only going to grow and get bigger and better. And as you have always visioned and always said, from Fiji to the world.
Yes.
Yeah. So what inspired you to create the Yandra brand along with your wife Fine, and how do you infuse Fijian culture into your business ventures?
That's another long topic, long story. But yeah, just to put it into a nutshell, Yandra, as we all know, is good morning in the whole of Fiji. But in Ra, we say Yandra 24 hours.
Wow.
And it's an awakening. It's a reminder for us in Watukoloko. We always, even my dad always say, Imo Yandra tiko, kila iko tiko. Know who you are. Kila na numuisama, like you know your dialect, you know your roots, you know your origins, you know your history. Even up to the point where he taught me how to do all the Fijian protocols, all the sebu-sebus and all this stuff. So that is pretty much what Yandra is. And it's not only for Fiji, it's not only for in terms of culture.
Yeah.
It can be adapted. I wanted to create something where people are constantly reminded about their purpose in life.
Right.
And I thought of, okay, maybe I write a song, but a song has only a lifespan of how many months, how many years. That's when I thought about apparel. So the vision behind Yandra wasn't to build the apparel. It was to tell a message. So I had to find the best possible way for that message to be in front of people's faces all the time. That's why I thought, okay, maybe if we created an apparel, people are wearing it every time they see it, every time they wear it, they feel that mana.
They feel that connection.
They feel that connection, and they feel that anything is possible. If you stay Yandra, there's nothing that is impossible. You have a goal, you can achieve it. If one door closes, you open the next door. But stay on your path, and you will achieve that. So that pretty much is what the brand is about.
And then you see on the social media page for Yandra, you see your customers, not just in Fiji, but from all parts of the world that send in their photos. So from Europe, from North America, South America, even in the Middle East, you will see people that are wearing the Yandra merchandise, and it's just taken your message and your vision and dream, and it's just spread out to the world.
It has, and it's really overwhelming to see how fast it's grown in such a short span of time. And that goes to show the mana that we have with our culture. If like I said, the incentives, the intention, and the motives are right. There's so much that we can do with telling a story, with spreading our message.
Right. So for me to get a free T-shirt, this is the time for you to plug in where our viewers can buy Yandra at the Yandra shop in Suva.
Yes, Yandra shop in Suva, 42 High Street in Turek. And we've got a very exciting announcement to make, which will be coming out in the next few months.
So just keep following the social media page.
Yes.
What do you hope people take away from not just your music, but your business and their impact on the community?
Like I said, I try my best to be as intentional as possible with music. I sort of don't just put out a song for the sake of it, to get likes, shares, or I always want to have a connection to what I am singing. And that's from my personal experience. And if that inspires someone else in their own field, and I know everyone loves and everyone needs music in their life, whether you're working, you're training, you're whatever you're doing. So that's why I feel privileged and truly blessed to have this talent. So I always think to myself, it could have been with anyone. and this talent could have been with anyone, but it chose me. So I'm just a custodian of this talent.
Yeah.
And my life
And the vessel.
And the vessel. And my life, I probably, I have a certain time on earth. So I need to make use of this time on earth.
Yeah.
Because we're not guaranteed. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. So I try my best to be as intentional as possible with the music that I put out, with the genre that I choose, so that I just want to be an inspiration to people and to lift people's spirits. I know that everyone has their pockets where they go through different things in life, challenges. So the music that I put out would sort of be like an escape and also a reminder that there's always brighter days ahead and there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
That's great, guys. So, guys, you're a public figure. That's no question about that. But you're also human.
Yes. I think
you are. Let me just pinch you. Yes, you are. So how do you maintain balance between your professional life and your personal life? So when I mentioned an example earlier, I was saying like when we would step out for lunch in the city and, I would get impatient because people would stop you, about 20 people just from going from the car park to the restaurant and asking for photos. And then you have your personal life at home with your wife Fine and your two boys Levi and Kali. So how do you balance professional and personal life?
Yeah, it's there's a time for everything. I try my best to spend as much time with my boys and with Fine, my wife. It's truly challenging with our work schedules and with the boys in school and their extracurricular. We try our best to at least do something together as a family in the weekends. At home, we have our family time in the evening, and it's when we reach the stage that we're at, every moment counts. So the thing is, like, even like a ride to school in the morning, that's like priceless. That's like precious time.
Right.
So I try and have conversations with the boys and talk, because my wife and I are always messaging. We're always having lunch throughout the week, having coffees and stuff. But you don't. You don't realize how time flies until when you have kids, and then you see, oh my God, they're in high school. Yeah. Oh my God, they're in another year up from school. Yeah. So it's those small moments that are really precious, and even if it's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Sometimes we overthink things and we think, oh, we need to spend like a whole day together and do this. Right. But with kids, it's those small things that matter. Even if you give them that attention within the 20 minutes, like Kali, Kali is very inquisitive.
Kali is the youngest son.
So he asks a lot of questions. So I see that's like sort of my family, like my time to bond with him. Right. And he's always bringing me his inventions, like with Legos and stuff. So as soon as he brings that to me, even if it's like for 10 minutes, I drop everything and I pay attention to. Right. And then I give all that attention to him, and you see his reaction, like, oh, they really care for me. So for me, I've learned to adapt my schedule that way. So I say any opportunity, any window, even if it's like 30 minutes, if it's an hour or less, that's your window. Don't take advantage of that time. That's your window to speak to the boys and to teach them lessons and to show them things that how they like teachings that I've been brought up with. Yeah. Because sometimes for me, my goal or the key for me is to not overthink family time. And just making use of those small moments, because when you add them up throughout the day, you've spent a lot of quality time with family. Right. So that's my approach to family time.
Thank you. You just inspired me because you have 2 boys and I have three daughters and 1 son, but I have dogs. So you've just inspired me on how I spend quality time with my dogs.
You're welcome.
we will just take another short break and then we'll just hear from our sponsors and we'll be back with more conversations with Inspirational Kuki right after this. Kuki, so what keeps you grounded when life gets overwhelming?
Training.
Yes.
Training and music. Like, I was so blessed. Like I could have a stressful day, and if I have a gig in the afternoon, I'll look forward to it because that's my distress. As soon as I start singing, lisarangan stress.
Yeah.
And training. I can't go a day without.
You're so disciplined when it comes to training because like we've traveled together internationally and like every day like you will go to the gym while I go and eat.
It's I just made it a lifestyle. Something that happened to me when I was younger, and I was partially like paralyzed from my hip down. And that feeling of at that time, and I still have that feeling now of being helpless and being in pain, being bedridden, wasn't a nice feeling. So that stuck with me my whole life. And I have learned to appreciate even just simple movements. Being able to walk mentanga. And then being able to recover from that and go into like sports. I've had the privilege of playing rugby. I played a rugby season in New Zealand. I've done some sevens tournaments and played rugby league in Australia. That that incident that happened to me back when I was young, it was my process, and I thank God that I went through that because it changed my mindset. Because for me, if I could recover from that and literally get up and walk and run, then anything else in life is possible. So
didn't the doctors at that time say that you were not gonna walk again, or was?
Yeah, actually they didn't really. They couldn't pick out what the issue was. Yeah, it was sort of like. How do I say it? It was a different kind of
something that was rare.
Yeah, very rare. So that's why I've made training my lifestyle because that is stuck to me. We don't appreciate our bodies enough and appreciate the simple movements that God has given us. My heart breaks every time I see someone with a disability. Not to say to be any disrespect to them, but I have had a short glimpse of what it feels like to not be able to do simple movements, and that's why I took it upon myself to appreciate movement and appreciate my body.
And I think it's moments like that as well that really changes who you are as a person, and then you get to appreciate things more differently.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Do you have any daily rituals or practices that help you stay connected to your roots?
To my roots,
apart from the greeting every morning, Yandra, or whenever you call in the evening,
Yandra. That's why I created Yandra, so that I could remind myself of my own roots. Probably not daily, but over time I make an effort to go down to the village, reconnect with the family. I love spending time with the family in the village.
It's so important as well to be connected.
And also
to
my
the
dad
village,
has been laid to rest in the village, so I have to always go back and visit the grave, and my grandfather and is also laid to rest there, so all my relatives are there. And that's probably we try our best to catch up in like Suva, the Votukoloko community in Suva. So that's another way. I love to just sit down and fully converse in the dialect and catch up with what's happening in what's the latest news and stuff.
Right.
But aside from that, we're working on exciting projects with Fiji Water, and for me that's me representing my vanua, because my dad was heavily involved in the negotiations on behalf of the vanua with Fiji Water, and for us being the rightful landowners, that's that plays a big part in our identity as well. Yeah, so and personal routines, I would say, if I touch base on that, I can't function in the morning. First thing when I wake up, I have to drink a liter of water.
Right.
Yes, so my day doesn't function unless I drink water.
Right. Yeah.
So that's
and what is good for you?
Yes, that's one of my personal routines in the morning.
Right. Looking ahead, what are your biggest dreams for yourself and your career?
Like we've always been proclaiming, from Fiji to the world, taking Fiji music to the world and taking the Inside Out brand, Inside Out Kuki brand, and exposing it to the world. A lot of work that needs to be done, and a lot of work is being put in place. That's the goal, to be known by our own sound and to be recognized regionally and globally, and to put Fiji on the map, not only in sports, not only for Fiji Water, but throughout talent, through music.
Yeah, talent. Yeah, absolutely. And I also think, like, in doing so, you'll also be promoting the home, because everyone knows that Fiji Water's home is Fiji, but where the source, where it comes from,
Yes.
like the story of Fiji Water, which is really important.
Yeah, very important. Yeah. So that's all part of my dreams and aspirations, and what is something that's truly, like I said, my purpose and my passion is to tell a story and to document a history about Votukoloko.
Yeah. You know what is one of my biggest dreams for you, which will make my dream true as well, and I hope that he gets to see this podcast, is you doing a duo with one of my favorite artists, John Legend.
Yes, I've heard it a lot of times.
So, Mr. Legend, if you're watching this podcast, please make this happen. Or your team, your brother.
It will happen.
So, guys, what legacy, is there a legacy you hope to leave behind? Not just as an artist, but as a person?
Well, that's I'd love to be wouldn't say I love to be known, or I just would love to leave behind a better platform for artists first, and have a music industry that is for artists and looks into the welfare of artists and ensures that there's a proper platform where artists can not only express their creativity but make a sustainable living out of it. That's one. The second thing is, like I mentioned, to tell our story. And when I say our story, it's the province of Ra and down to my Vunua in Votukoloko.
Right.
A lot of people would be asking, why? It's because the history behind Fiji has been suppressed, and it's a very touchy issue, because it touches base on when the colonials came into the country, and our ancestors being rounded up from our villages and being banned and exiled from our own land.
Yeah.
And over the years, we're forced to go back into where our village is now.
Yeah.
So that's something that I want to leave behind before I leave this earth. At least that, Fiji, the world knows the history behind Votukoloko, which has a deep it's rooted in the origins of Fiji. Because if you go around Fiji, and I've witnessed this, people say, "Oh, kami buki dengan Ra." Like we all from Ra, but nobody really knows what's that is. And like our high priest said at the time, keep that history in your family bone. It'll come a time, and I believe that time is now.
Right.
And I'm truly convinced that time is now, and God has given me a voice, literally a voice.
Yeah, absolutely, a big voice and a platform.
To tell that story. So those are the two things that I would love to live.
Yeah, and it's really interesting as well that you touched on the history of the Ra people and like how the early settlers that came in. Because when I was in the tourism industry, I was doing research because part of my job was to market Fiji abroad. So I got to learn about the Sacred Islands, which is, I think it's in the southern parts of the Mamanuthas. So that's where the first Fijians came through, which is the information that I received at the time. And then to get on to Vitilevu, they came through Vun and then settled up in Nakovandra in the Ra province.
Yes.
So I think that's just part of the puzzle, but then we have our own historians in Fiji that are more qualified with all the right information that can tell the full details about that.
Yeah. So when they came through to Vunda, they saw that there was smoke coming out of Nakovandra, which means that it was
already settled.
Yeah.
But then that also explains why in the entire country we say Yandra in the mornings. Wouldn't that? I think that's probably why.
Yeah, that's probably why.
And then we just sort of tailored it to our own dialect. So like for my province, Tailevu, we say Andra Maleka.
Yeah.
Or Bula Maleka.
Yeah. Over time, it evolved.
Yeah.
The dialects. When people they say the Nangauna ni Tawabono.
Yeah.
We started settling into different parts of Fiji. So. Yeah, it's there's so much to be told. And I'm so privileged. My dad used to sit us down as small kids from when I was probably 4 years old or 5, and you'd start from the beginning and tell us the history. And it's funny because my mom being Kailoma. Part European.
Yes, Kailoma.
Being part European. At the time, she didn't really understand it. Why are you telling our kids this, or like these, folk stories? When she would say it's probably not real, and then my dad be like, no, you wait. There'll come a time where, like the prophecy says, there'll come a time where Fiji and the world would come running for it, and it's happening. I was really amazed on air a few days ago. And it really caught me by surprise, and I was really grateful that FM 96 on the breakfast show, and they were talking about the origins of this. I'm not too sure, was it these mats from Lomaiviti?
Okay,
and
Lomaiviti is one of the 14 provinces
in Fiji, and they were explaining about the mats, the origins, and the reasons why they plait it in a certain way.
Interesting.
And it was really, and they started.
We have some interesting stories when it comes to some of the different sort of artifacts that we have from the different provinces.
Because the innovation and the ingenuity back in the days, if it's told to the kids nowadays, they would be like, what?
Yes.
They did that in the olden days.
Absolutely.
They were way ahead of that.
We have some of the best skilled canoe builders from the province of Laos. Yeah. So what advice would you give to young people in Fiji or the Pacific or anywhere in the world that's watching this podcast episode who are trying to pursue their dreams in music or business? What advice would you give them?
In music, first and foremost is perfect your craft. Perfect your craft. You can't expect to be the best within a year, within 2 years, within 3 years. You need a lot of patience.
Right.
And just continue to perfect your craft. You're so blessed now with the platforms and the mediums on social media and online streaming, where you can showcase your talent. But before you showcase your talent, you need to, first hone your talent and understand what suits you as an artist. That's one thing that you need to define first and foremost. The genre that suits you. There's artists that can be versatile, and there are artists that are really just tailored to certain genres and tailored to certain styles of singing. So that's first and foremost one thing that you need to identify, and you work on your craft. And the opportunity will come. Don't chase the money. That is my biggest advice.
Don't chase.
Don't chase money, because that's your biggest downfall.
Right.
And don't chase fame.
That is good advice.
That will be your biggest downfall.
That is the best advice. Like just listening to that as well. That is something that I've also sort of like placed in my career. Like never to chase fame, never to chase money, because I guess it's sort of like in terms of like our attitude changes when it comes to that sort of thing.
I mean, it's good. It's good to have that platform when you have that platform through fame and stuff. But if you want to, and I'm speaking as an artist, to an aspiring artist. If you want to be known as an artist, first and foremost, become an artist.
Right.
Yeah. Perfect your craft first, and don't jump into thinking, oh, I can make that much money, because your focus will be on your motive, and your intentions will be different from what you really truly want to do.
Motives is important.
And from experience, later down the line, you will lose touch, because people want to be connected with an artist that knows their worth, their value, and truly values their talent. They don't want to be connected to somebody who has so many likes and so many comments, and not only people, like brands to collaborate with. So be authentic in a way where you're perfecting your art first and foremost. When you know that you're ready, then you put yourself out there.
Right.
Because trust me, once you put yourself out there and you have that confidence, the world is always there.
Right.
Yeah, but your intentions and your motives need to be. I asked some artists, young artists. So what's your vision? What's your goal for yourself? I want to be rich and famous. Okay, that's the first and foremost.
Yeah. They look at the materialistic side of the career.
It might work for you in a few months, in a few years, but if you're looking to have this, let this be, sustain you for life, I'm sorry to say, it won't sustain you.
Yeah.
Once you reach that level where you can be rich and famous, then you can have that platform to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But when you're starting off, focus on your craft, identify the genre that you want to go in, the type of artist that you want to be, and work on your craft first and foremost. Perfect your craft. I guess in business, never give up. It might be a cliche, but there's some business ventures that you might go into and it doesn't work. Some just say, oh, maybe business is not for me. No, maybe that opportunity wasn't for you.
Right.
Maybe that door wasn't meant for you to open.
I believe that.
Close that door, open another door.
Yeah.
Just don't give up, because your time, it might not be in a day, it might not be in a month, a few months or years, but this is from personal experience in business. Just keep knocking, keep working. Through good days, keep working. Even through bad days, you might be under pressure. Just focus and just put in the work. It will, for sure, it will come. It will happen. It will happen for you.
Great advice, guys. Great advice. Kuki, if there's one message you could share with every fan who listens to your music or wears the Yonder brand, what would it be?
Subscribe, like, comment, share. Thank you so much for coming on to my journey.
Yeah.
That's a new direction that I wanted to take this year. Just telling my story, and I've realized that people only know me as an artist. Now I'm opening up to, again, I'm an introvert. For me, my personal space is my personal space.
Yeah.
Over the time, I've had to open up to the idea that I'm not showing off, or I'm not trying to be someone that I'm not. I'm just being myself. And I've realized over the years, and people have asked me, we want to see more of the stuff that happens behind the scene. We want to learn more about your family life, relationship advice, business. I was like, okay, so for me, it's telling my story and seeing if and with the hopes that it inspires, and my followers. And I've got some amazing followers who've just been, a lot of them have been there from day one. And just my message to them is, I hope that the music continues to inspire you, and I hope that it hits you at the right time.
Yeah.
And I don't know what so many of you are going through, but for me, my gift to you is what God has given me. It's the gift of and the passion to do music.
Right.
And so I try my best to use that to inspire others. Like I said, because I'm only just a custodian. Everyone has a purpose in life, and this is my purpose. So I just want to thank all the followers for the loyal support.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. And I've spoken to quite a few people in not just the music industry, but in the corporate and government sectors, and their feedbacks about you is that you were so humble and so approachable. So continue being you.
Thank you so much.
Continue being you. My final question, what's a side of Kuki that you wish people knew more about? Something that they wouldn't guess from seeing you on stage. That you're a big fan of Natai Levu province?
Interesting. Firstly, they probably don't know that I have part European blood.
Right, yes. That's how me and Kuki are related and connected.
Yeah, I guess that it's so funny when people, when in the past when I introduce my friends to my mom, say, hey, wait, this is my mom, this is my friend. They'd be like, huh? It's like, you adopted? Or
Right.
Just that side of me, because I was brought up traditionally, and also, how do I say?
Because we grew up
contemporarily.
Yeah, well, we grew up in the coast, so in the estates where our part European families were.
Yes.
So I guess our upbringing there was so different to the upbringing that you would have had in Ra.
Yeah.
So
totally
we didn't
different.
really have strong cultural practices on that side of the family.
No.
But then when you go to Ra, you have that really strong cultural upbringing.
Yeah. I guess that's a blessing in a way.
Yeah, because you had the best of both worlds.
Yeah, got to experience the best of both worlds. Funny story, and non-related to the topic, but my dad used to tell us this story when he used to go. That's when he left school. He had found his first job at TLTB, and then he used to go back to the village, and then his aunties used to ask him, "Hey, when you gonna bring your wife? We want to plant your mats and get ready for your." And he jokingly, he hadn't even met my mom at that time. He jokingly said, "Don't plait any mats for me. You just prepare white sheets." Meaning that he was adamant that he was going to marry a part European. This black fella from Ra. So he used to tell that story really proud. And then when he met my mom in Lambasa and finally took her to the village, and he said, "See, I told you, don't prepare mats, prepare white sheets."
Wow.
So I guess that's one thing that people don't really see or know of me. I have a very strong part European mom.
Of course, you do.
She has 10. There's 10 of them. 10
yes.
siblings. And most of them are abroad.
Yeah.
And my cousins are, all over the world.
Yep.
And they're really fair skin.
And your great grandmother and my great grandfather are very closely related, and they're both European ancestors. So
very strong European.
So that's
ancestors.
very. That's I don't know how more Kailoma you can get, or part European.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing that people don't know about me.
I think you need to hang out with me more.
Already.
So thank you so much, Kaz. Thank you, Kuki, for being on the podcast. I hope that you enjoyed me podding you on this podcast, and just for sharing your journey and sharing your story and inspiring all our viewers and those aspiring to get into the music industry. So for those of our viewers that would like to know more about Kuki, you can follow Kuki on his personal Facebook page, Kuki. Instagram, he has his own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And then don't forget to like and share this episode to all your friends and families, and keep following Inside Out, Kuki, and Resonance Media. Binaka.
Binaka.